Good. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We wanted to bring together local community leaders and our state delegation to show that we're united in order to advance the interests of local control of zoning, reforming 830G, and building affordable housing in a sustainable way that has universal buy-in in our community. Obviously, we chose Armstrong Court and the brand new townhouses that Greenwich Communities has built as our location to show the commitment that our community has to affordable housing. This is a special neighborhood to a lot of us. I know Fred especially has had relatives here. I went to middle school just over the fence over there. This is an important part of our community, and Greenwich as a whole is committed to the cause of affordable housing. We're also committed to the cause of local control and town governance, especially as it pertains to planning and zoning. And we're deeply concerned about efforts at the state level to undermine local control of town planning and zoning, and also the 830G law in particular, which is imposing an undue burden on our town and allows developers to basically ignore or run roughshod over a lot of the local planning and zoning rules, which seek to have the interests of the whole community at heart. So our state delegation will be introducing legislation in order to reform 830G in a way that we make sure that affordable housing has local buy-in universally, and that there's input, and that it's done in scale and consistent with the style and the architecture of the town. So we'll be introducing any number of pieces of legislation along those lines that are targeted, that have bipartisan support, and that are workable. But also there's important local initiatives as well in order to advance the cause of affordable housing, including the housing trust that was passed by the RTM in the past year that seeks to advance the cause with local input as well. So I'm certainly very glad to see so much local buy-in, local support for these reforms across party lines at all levels of government, across the community. I appreciate all my friends here being with me to advance that cause, and I'd also love to hear from First Selectman Camillio and the rest of you about the cause as well.
Thank you, Ryan, and I want to thank everybody for coming today, and certainly the delegation that I've been meeting with the last several months to go over proactive legislation. That also highlights our successes here. Thank you, Sam, Tony, and the commissioners, the Housing Authority, now Greenwich Communities. This is a special place, and it's a great story, but as the governor was here a few months ago, applauded Greenwich's efforts, that's not going to be enough. The legislation that the delegation is going to be introducing will be doing things like expanding the definition of what is included in 8-30G and counting units regardless of what the date is on them. We have 5.3% of that 10% mandate. We are convinced we have well in excess of 10%. It's just not being counted. And as long as we don't reach the 10% in the eyes of the state of Connecticut, we're going to have this gun over our head called 8-30G, which does threaten to change fundamentally what our town looks like. Every town that I've been to, and all the mayors and first selectmen and women that I've spoken to, all agree. It doesn't matter if they're Democrats or Republicans. They agree about this. It's just convincing the legislature that this needs to be reformed, and also the fact that we are continuing to promote affordable housing and not only build new affordable housing, but renovate. I mean, this did not look like it when Grandma Camillio lived here in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. So it's really hats off to everybody who's made this a reality. But again, I can't thank the delegation enough. This is very proactive. They're working very, very hard. And thank you all, because I know there's a lot of RTM support here too, and that's very, very critical. So with that, I'll go to my right, and I'll turn it over to Representative Fiorello.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm State Representative Kimberly Fiorello, representing Greenwich and Stamford. and I serve on the Planning and Zoning Committee in the legislature. It has been incredible this year, round 2, as we look at more bills that are coming out of Desegregate Connecticut, that we have the community coming together to put forth wonderful ideas on what the towns can do on our own. And I'm very grateful for all of the positive comments that are coming forward, the testimonies that we know we'll have, the letters that we're seeing in the community. I think this means that more and more people are realizing that even though the word character has been canceled, that this is a community. There is a certain sense of beauty that we want to preserve for our state and for all our towns. And a real acknowledgement that affordability is a broader picture also. It's not just the affordability of the housing itself, the supply, but affordability of life in Connecticut. And taking all of this into consideration, I really look forward to going back into a session with the legislature to work with my colleagues to put forth bills that make sense and that work for Connecticut. This is not a radical position to look for a tweaking of 830G. 830G is a bill that is 30 years old and it hasn't worked. And I think it's perfectly reasonable for the people of Connecticut and the people of Greenwich to seek for the bills to be tweaked so they make sense and that they are workable for the community, and it is not a cudgel for out-of-state developers to come in and make permanent changes to the beauty of our towns. So thank you so much.
Steve?
As I guess at this point the longest serving legislator, 3 years in the state, I want to speak to the issues of affordability and the issues of inclusiveness in our community. I think those are important goals that we need to continue working on. You can count on my support of the Housing Authority and our ability to seek state help in building reasonable, affordable housing. I mean, the issue that we're facing with 830G is a density issue. It's the growth of the housing stock versus getting to an agreed upon level of affordable housing. I believe that our workforce, the people who add to our community, our seniors, all deserve decent, affordable housing. I want to see us working towards those goals. I applaud what we've done here. I will continue to support those efforts. And you can count on my support for making it an inclusive community.
Thank you, Steve. We'd also love to hear from Sam Romeo and Tony Johnson from Greenwich Communities.
Thank you all for coming out, and I want to thank our state legislators for all the support that they've been giving us throughout the years. As you know, if you can look around, you can see that we've made tremendous strides in redeveloping our properties. Over the last several years, we've reinvested close to $30 million in new construction and renovations of our properties to bring them up to world-class standards. And we take pride in our work, and we take pride in serving our residents of Greenwich communities. Unlike some buildings in New York, if you've seen locally in the news, where the residents in the NYSHA buildings don't even have hot water. But we take pride in it. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we've built close to, or renovated, or built and bought close to 50 new units we put online into our properties. We have a 5-year plan. We plan on doing another 300 units moving forward with the help of the state legislators and our state senator. We could find the funding, because these are trying times now with the consumer goods index going up. The cost of this operation alone has been trying because of keeping up with the day-to-day increase in the prices of steel, lumber, and other commodities. Gasoline is going through the roof, so all our construction costs are really eating up our contingency fund. So we're working hard to comply with the 830G, but the one fallacy I've seen, I've been advocating for quite some time now. The one element of 830G where the fallacy really comes in is that the goalpost keeps moving. There's no municipality in the state of Connecticut is going to be able to attain that 10% requirement they ask for, because every time we add new units, the goalpost moves. So we can never catch it. We need to get in and revise that law and start back in 1989 when it was first put into place, cap it at the number that they voted on back then, and then get a big bite at the apple. And one further thing is that when we build units, Greenwich communities, 100% of our units are counted. 100% of our units are affordable in perpetuity. When a contractor comes in and offers to build units, those units have a lifespan of 30 to 40 years. Once they're done, they go back in the open market. So they're not really serving the community as the law intended. And to be frank, they're building one-bedroom units, which does not help working families. And that's what we're striving for. We're building units for working families to help the low and moderate income people. The developers are in it for the greed, the money. Build one bedroom to supply the 30% affordability so they can get their profits and move out. We're in it not to make the money. We're in it to serve the community, and I think that's what we have accomplished. We have a partnership with all of our other agencies, so this is why we're called Greenwich Communities, because we have a partnership with the entire community. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my executive director, Tony Johnson.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Anthony Johnson, Executive Director of Greenwich Communities. I like to say that since my years here in Greenwich, I've had nothing but support from the delegation of representatives from our community, especially Fred Camillio, who's supported what we've done since day one when he was a state representative himself, and he continues to support us today. I think that Greenwich Communities, with the new regulations that the town is doing currently in terms of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, with the impetus that is now behind them to create more affordable housing, I think Greenwich Communities is the answer to that problem. With the support, financial and political, I think we can achieve a great deal of what the legislation had intended to occur. And I'm pretty sure that we can get there. I like to say that Greenwich, even without my support, even though I think we've done a great job, has always been a very strong supporter of affordable housing. They built Armstrong Court, they built Wilbur Peck, and there's very few communities in Fairfield County that has the financial wealth of this particular community that has embraced affordable housing like Greenwich has. So I would defend Greenwich in its ability and willingness to create affordable housing, and I think that we'll get it done. Thank you.